discussing how to stay emotionally disciplined. And I will tell you a story that can impact not only us and have impacted not only us, but can give you some great ideas on how not to freak out when things don't go your way. So let's dive in today, guys. Welcome to the new episode of the Eva Eckert podcast, episode number 13, guys. Happy number 13. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing how to stay emotionally disciplined. And I will tell you a story that can impact not only us and have impacted not only us, but can give you some great ideas on how not to freak out when things don't go your way. So let's dive in today, guys. Welcome to the show again. And for those of you who are here for the first time, I am Eva Eckert, and I am a Polish immigrant with a big heart, strong accent, kick-ass husband, and 2 beautiful kids. American entrepreneur sharing an incredible mission to inspire women around the world to take bold actions towards their dreams, passions, desires, so finally their life becomes more meaningful and fulfilled. I believe that the badass superhero is inside all of us, so you can share it with the world to make the world a better place. This show will help you finally discover the power of self-belief and self-discipline so we can stop making excuses and create the life you truly desire and deserve by being the best version of you. Let's dive in, guys. So we just recently came back from New York, and this whole entire trip, guys, has been a test of our emotional resilience. Are you emotionally resilient? So many times people talk about the IQ, but they do not talk about the EQ. But emotional discipline is something that it's not only is the self-awareness, but there is the social awareness as well involved. And for those of you who are not knowing what I'm talking about, this book is some great book that I strongly recommend, Emotional Discipline 2.0, guys, for those of you who are actually watching me right now. Amazing book that will help you in so many situations that you will encounter throughout your life. So as we were flying to New York, our flight has been postponed so many times. And you might be wondering, okay, she's going to be talking about her trip, like how I'm going to get any value out of this lesson today. Well, let me tell you, through everything that happened to us through this entire trip, you're going to get some extreme value exactly to really answer your own question. Am I freaking out in the times when things don't go my way? Ask yourself this question right now, before we even dive into this episode, because I bet you that you are. I bet you that we create these extreme situations out of the simple situation. We freak out and we then look back and we're like, wow, I really made a big deal out of the whole thing. So as we were traveling to New York, our trip has been postponed from 5 p.m. all the way to 9:50 p.m. And here we are with our whole family traveling to New York, and we get notification. First, the flight is postponed 15 minutes, half an hour. The flight is being changed. They put us on a flight. After about half an hour, they ask us to leave the flight, to leave the airplane, to change the gate again. And we finding out that there is another plane being put it for us. So we go into the second plane. They kick us out as well. So what we do in a situation like this, what would you do, right? We just sit down and read our books and take our sweet time and just enjoy the time, because there is nothing that we can do about it. Like, there is absolutely nothing that you can control in this situation, right? And the lesson here is throughout the whole, I would say the whole entire trip, is that things out of our control are not worth being upset about. Because think about it, like, this was completely out of our control, that they couldn't find the crew, that they had to change the flight, that they had to repair something. There were things completely out of our control. Eventually, we actually got on this plane and we flew to New York with, even though being upgraded our seats, we got our seats upgraded. So that was a bonus. So there's always like a flip side to the whole thing. But like, think about it. That was completely out of our control what happened. Not only that, on the way back from from New York, we are already at the airport. We are in New Jersey airport, and we crossing, going through the customs first, right? On customs, you kind of check out the bags, and you're going through final luggages, putting them. And they have these new devices that they scan. If you've ever been to Newark Airport recently, the whole airport, the whole one side has been completely remodeled, and it looks so good. I think they built a new terminal. That's how it looks like. So it's an amazing terminal, and they have these new devices. So anyway, we're going through, and they stop us, and we're like, my God, this is almost like a course through our family, because used to Steve would be, my husband would be stopped at those at checking these bags, and now they stop us, the whole entire family, and they asking us, who is this backpack? And this was our backpack. So we say, well, ours. Well, guess what? We found a brass knuckles. Now, if some of you don't know what the brass knuckles are, I will tell you exactly that they can cause serious body injury and death in individuals even. The metal frame of brass knuckles is designed to increase the force of a punch and can easily break bones and cause laceration. So there are 21 states that don't allow these brass knuckles. They're illegal. And one of them is New Jersey, New York, California, and other states. Doesn't matter which ones, but they stop us, right? And here's the thing. We're supposed to catch the flight. And we as a family, like, what are we going to do? We're waiting to resolve this thing. So they take a picture of our documents. They take the picture of the brass knuckles. And we already know that this is not, it was like we had no clue that this thing was there. Well, so here is the thing. They ask us questions. We explain them everything. They ask my husband in details what happens. And he tells them that he is a Marine, that we got this on the way from New York. He puts this whole story in details, what happens. And they take the notes, put it down, come back, and they say, okay, so are you aware that just saying to us that, you forgot to have this in your backpack, that this is not enough? And we are like, yes, absolutely. We know this. So he says that has to be a different reason. And we are like, well, the training reason. My husband says I'm in the Marine and I have this for training purposes. So they come back and they say, well, because this is a piece that has been used for training purposes, we can let you go. But the whole situation, like, just imagine 2 little kids, us adults, being stopped at the airport. The patrols, the police, and they take pictures, they do all of this thing. Like, how would you freak out, or would you stay calm? Like, well, how would be your reaction? And if you had ever a situation like this in your life, that your heart rate goes up, would you freak out, or would you stay calm? Because look, this was also out of our control. This thing happened. There was nothing other than us stay calm in the situation. Put our story together and have a clarity of what we're going to say and how we're going to react. Also, like, okay, if something's going to happen, if there's the worst case scenario, somebody get arrested and they have to stay at the airport, will the family fly or they stay? Like assessing the situation, right? Not only that, there is always an opportunity in chaos when you think about it, because on the flight to New York, guys, the kids were helping a young lady and her kid bringing their water when we were awaiting the flight. And so there is always opportunity in chaos. The same here. What our opportunity was to stay together as a family, not freak out and assess the situation, right? Now we catch the flight, we fly to California, and an hour before the flight, guys, a pilot announces that we lost the hydraulic system in the air and he has to switch one airport to the next. So from Santa Ana flying to Ontario, because the runway is longer, so he will have enough time to stop the plane. So when we heard the news, Ivanka was sitting next to me, Tyson was sitting in front of me, Steve was sitting somewhere else. I'm thinking that would be so awesome if all of us would be sitting close to each other so we would have like ability to discuss this. But I'm like, this is what it is. I go online, check what it is, learn about a little bit hydraulic system, and then I'm asking myself a question, okay, what is this information going to give me? The only thing is that nothing, really. Like, okay, I know that there's some liquid, there's a whole explanation online given what is the hydraulic system, but I am not a pilot. I am not an engineer. It's not going to give me anything. The fact is that we lost something in the air. 3 pieces as needed for landing, but we only have 2. And the pilot is taking care of us. So I asked Tyson if he heard the news. He was totally calm. He was actually watching Shark Tank on the screen. I was reading a book. Ivanka was sleeping. Steve was ahead of me. I'm like, okay. But here's the thing. In times of crisis, your brain usually goes to the worst case scenario. And let me tell you, I had a moment. I was thinking, okay, I could text my family, which are in Poland. They are 9 hours ahead of me. It's not going to give me anything. It's going to only cause a chaos and they're going to be worried. Then I'm going to land and they're going to be like, why did you send me that message? So I felt like I needed someone to talk to about. So I sent them a quick message to my friend, actually. I'm like, pray for us because we lost the hydraulic system in the air. And I hope we're going to land and it's all going to be okay. So anyway, this kind of felt like a release, like almost like in situations like this, you want to share with someone, right? But I'm thinking later, I'm like, she first of all was sleeping at that time. And then she woke up. I don't know. She was like awake and checked the message. And I'm like, you shouldn't be worried about anyone really at that moment. You should be praying that everything's going to be okay. So going through this scenario in my head, I'm thinking, okay, what if the plane would hit the ground and the flames go? It's like, there is nothing that I can do. I'm like, get out of your head. Stop thinking about these things. You're doing really good because you're staying calm. Get something really during this time. Use this time as a valuable time. Maybe read, and that's it. Stay calm and don't do crazy things. Don't get yourself like out of control because you have no control over this. Who has the control is the pirate right now. So I was very calm overall when I was thinking about the situation because I think this was overall dangerous situation when we think about it. When we were landing, the patrol of the runway was there on the blinking lights. They have some ambulances set up on the side of the runway. I guess they wanted to be prepared, or maybe they were expecting the worst. Who knows? We don't know that. They were prepared for the probably worst case scenario. So in situations like this, you almost have to be, right? You have to be. You don't want to expect the worst, but you want to be prepared for it. So we land there. The landing was actually even smooth. I don't remember really having a bumpy ride, maybe like few jumps, and that was it. We landed, and the moment that we landed, guys, the pilot comes out of his room and says that he apologizes for any inconvenience that this happened. And his priority was getting us safe landing, and everybody were clapping, and everybody were feeling so blessed that we landed, that we were okay, that nothing happened. And kudos to the pilot that he was able to manage this, because overall, how serious this is. If you are a pilot and you know what I'm talking about, or you are an engineer, please make comments, because I would like to know. I researched a little bit about it, how that is important part, but we were not given details that we lost the fluid or we lost the part. We just, the way how he said it, and I remember, was we lost a piece in the air. Is it a piece or is it a fluid? I don't know, but we knew that it was needed for landing, but we landed safely. And here is another lesson, guys, that there are people, right, in the chain of command that are being impacted, and they're like this pilot, and his priority is to really find the priority out of this whole chaos. Because in the times of tornado or chaos, you have so many different things flowing. How will you pick the most important thing? That was the key. It wasn't his concern that we have to switch the airport, that people park their cars, right? His priority was to make this plane landed, and he did it. So that was amazing. Now, inside of chaos lays contentment and peace. Because when we were waiting for the flight to New York and really waiting on landing, there was a time for our work. We've done more work there ever. We prepared our podcast, we prepared our talk shows, we prepared our presentations. We've researched things. The kids were studying and preparing for their shows, preparing marketing ideas. So you have time to work. So like in the time of chaos, when something happens, you can find peace and contentment, right? Now, there are people in a chain of command also that are impacted by the chaos, but not responsible for chaos. Like think about it, the cruise. And I remember the stewardesses, which you don't say stewardesses anymore. You say the onboard crew members or crew members. Well, I remember us going in and out of these planes when we were waiting for the flight from California to New York. And I remember these stewardesses being so feeling so sorry for us, and they were like, one lady literally had like tears in her eyes. I'm so sorry, we are apologizing for the inconvenience. And you know what I did? I stopped and I said, look, we all gonna be okay. This is out of our control and out of your control. So please take a moment, take a breath, relax. And if people acting like assholes, just let them be, because there is nothing that you can do. Because people were acting. People were screaming at the airport. People were freaking out. They were like, we were literally sitting. It was almost 9 p.m., I remember. We were all tired. And people were still freaking out. Some lady was cursing in the middle of the airport. For what? Why would you get yourself so hyper in the times that you have absolutely no control of? Like, think about it. Like, what is the need for? And the crazy part is that we as humans can spiral our emotions. People emotionally impact people. That's what it was. That's why I said to the stewardess, that's why I said to the crew member, I said, guys, you need to like relax. You have to step back and think, there is nothing that I can do. But it was so sweet that she actually stopped us, and she was really feeling sad. And, you know, but for what? When you think about it, it's just like kind of a waste of your time, like, and life. Not only that, I remember when we were second time at the second plane, waiting to leave California and fly to New York. Some crew member, it was pretty funny. I wonder if my family catch on that too. Some crew member announcement when like, well, guys, this is your second plane. And this is how he sounded. Guys, not to really say anything wrong about the person, but it was pretty funny. Well, guys, we cannot find I don't know where the pilot is. We can't find the second crew. There is nowhere. We just can't find it. He was like freaking out on over the microphone. They are nowhere to be found. If you're announcing a situation like this, you're gonna emotionally impact people that are already impacted, that are already freaking out. So why would you do that, right? It should be instead maybe apologizing and saying this is we just have to take a chill pill. That's what it is. Chill pill, and asking everybody to understand the situation. But yet it shows you how people really freaking out. Guys, another lesson along the journey, you can help other people. Like the kids were helping the lady with the baby. When they were changing these planes, and look, I can close my eyes and I can see all these different gate numbers that we were switching from one gate number to the next. We literally traveled through the airport. That's what it was, from one thing to the next. I remember there was a little lady that sat in a row with my husband and Tyson, and she had a few months old baby. And when we were waiting for another plane, I remember they were giving waters and snacks for us, for all the people that were waiting for the flight. And the kids, because she was sitting with the baby and waiting, the kids decided to run, get some water and snacks for her to help her. So look around in time of chaos. Any chaos, because I don't know what you're dealing with. But those are the moments that you literally could take notes today, like write it down and assess your situation, what's happening, that you can help people along the way, that it's not always about you, that it's also about other people. And be grateful for people. Be grateful for people instead of blaming them. Assess the situation correctly. And when you take a step back and realize, like we were assessing the situation, look, there's nothing that we can do about these flights. On the way into New York, like think about it. Look what a test. I'm not talking about just one flight. We're talking about on the way to New York, coming back from New York. It's like all these tests on us. Like I don't even remember being tested as much as a family on our emotional resilience, how we react. Are we freaking out? Are we staying calm under the pressure and prioritizing things, looking towards the future, that the future holds great things for us, that the future holds bright things for us, and that it's all going to be okay, and that we are in this together, and we are in this together with other people around us, right? There are other people that are impacted as us. It's not only us, other people. And we were just flying there. Obviously, our flight, the whole trip was impacted because when we landed, guys, the rental car was closed. And it was another thing that they told us, that the rental car, that there will be somebody waiting for us at 4 a.m. And we asked them, are you guys sure that there will be somebody waiting for us? I don't even need to tell the names of the company because there is no need. But they said yes. And we literally were knocking at the doors, moving handles, trying to find different doors. There was no one to be found. So what we did, instead of freaking out or waiting 2 hours, and we had a great car reserved and a nice car, we were like, you know what? There is another place next to us and they are open. So let's go over there. Let's cancel this one and let's go to another place and get a rental car at 4 a.m. And we got to the hotel at 6, went to sleep at 7, I think 30 a.m., woke up at 11 and did our non-negotiable, which was the workout, because we're supposed to meet with our family and do our business meetings, and it all happened. But along the way, there were all these bumps that happened. And you know what? Appreciative of the fact that we landed, that we got to our destination, even though there were some bumps on the way. Now, always be prepared. Like, think about it. Think about all the ambulances and patrol and everybody else, they have to be prepared, right? Prepared for the worst, but also have a story. Like my husband had to have a story. He had to have a story. I want to have this. Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me, guys. This is my camera operator. Look how cute. Oh, sorry, because I don't see it. Guys, this is what happened. This is the surprise that I got during my podcast. And this is my camera operator. That she's behind the scenes, but she loves me so much that she gives me this. Adorable, isn't it? That's what I'm talking about. And this is natural show, guys. I did not know that I'm going to get that note. Ivanka, I love you too, honey. I love you so much. Thank you so much for giving me this. So adorable. So look, that's what I want to show you. Things sometimes can not go necessarily smooth. You must have even hear a little bumps and clicks today in my show. And you know why? Because Ivanka's been working hard on her art here. So forgive her for the clicks and other things, but she's only and closing her markers. She's only 9 years old, and I will forgive her for this because she made me that awesome note. So I love you, honey, for this. So anyhow, look, be prepared. Always, no matter what happens in any chaos, the preparation is also the key. And how can you be prepared in your chaos today? Guys, what situation has happened in your life recently that caused you freak out? I can literally think about my friends' situations that happened to them recently, which I'm not going to be talking about because we're talking about some other things, but really testing their emotional discipline, their resilience, their ability to stay calm. And this is something that sometimes can we be prepared for? This what I'm talking about. Can you be prepared for something like this? I don't know. We just took it as it is because it was almost like we're not gonna cancel this flight. This is it. Were we tired? Heck yeah. Were we exhausted? Heck yeah. Like imagine we were at the airport, you get 2 hours before the flight. We were there from 3 p.m. till 10 p.m. I think that was the longest time spent at the airport ever for me, and I think for my family. Besides changing planes in Europe when I was pregnant with the kids, and I remember Tyson was little, and I was pregnant with Ivanka, and I was waiting 6 hours for a flight. I don't remember. I think it was Germany. And I fall asleep being pregnant with my little kid. And some lady woke me up because I was so exhausted. So this was the longest time. But can you be prepared for something like this? I think what we can do, we can train ourselves. And that's why I mentioned this great book, Emotional Intelligence 2.0, that talk about the emotional discipline. And it gives you great examples of people from different aspects of work, different leaders, different workers, just different ways of people's reactions, and give them score of the emotional discipline, how they react in times of chaos, how we can learn from them, and what high score means. Having a high score. What having a high score means is to be calm, to assess the situation, to pause and think, to not react immediately. Those are skills that can be learned. I think they can be trained. And I think these situations happens in our life pretty often. Some of them can be to such an extent that sometimes may be hard to imagine, right? And some of them may be even on a smaller degree. So I would like to hear from you guys, like what recent chaos happened in your life? What was your reaction? If you want to share with us, if you want to share with me, if you want to share with the audience that is listening, how would you react? Or maybe you had a similar situation at the airport, because flights are common. Let's put it this way. Flights are very common to be postponed, to be delayed, to be changed. I mean, this is common, especially recently, right? For some reason, recently, we've been experiencing, because we fly often, more than ever. And what do you do in a situation like this? How you react? Or maybe what I showed you today, this was a great lesson for you to realize, you know what, I've been reacting like a dumbass. I've been mean to other people. I've been not controlling myself. I've been mean to others. I've been mean to crew members, and I've realized that I've been an asshole, right? Because I've been acting like this. And maybe this is an episode for you to realize, you know what? This is absolutely something that I need to stop right now, and I will never do this again. Because if I look at this whole situation, it was like, the fact that we were helping this lady with the baby, the fact that I stopped the crew members, the fact that we were clapping to the pilot, the fact that just we were just there lunging in the middle of the floor. I even took a picture, posted on Instagram, literally us sitting on the floor and reading and chilling when all the seats were taken, waiting for another plane to catch. This whole trip is so memorable. The whole trip is so memorable. And I bet you I guarantee you, when you act stupid, or when you act the way how you're not supposed to act, you definitely regret this. That's what we do. And I guarantee you that you've regretted many times acting like this. So why don't we all start studying this, taking a chill pill, relax, and see what we can do in times like that. And I want to hear from you guys after this episode. So I hope you got some good, valuable content, and that you're going to realize right now that there are things out of our control, and that these things will be showing up in your life, in your business, in your relationships, in your fitness, health. I mean, all these areas of our life that things will be happening. So how you react, what can you do, right? There is always a way. There's always another side of the coin. Remember, like we say, flip the switch, flip the coin. There's always something positive on the other side. Positivity out of this, there's so many positive lessons. We actually think we've gotten so much work. We helped the people, but we got upgraded seats. We didn't get a better car, but we ended up working out, even though I actually felt great for having 5 hours of sleep. And we all ended up staying smooth, and we saved our lives. We landed after this plane not crashing. We landed. First time in our life something like this happened, and all happened, and everything happened okay, right? We all safe. And so there is always a good side inside the chaos. So find something good, pull it out of the situation that it's there. I want you to write it down today, because there is another thing. Sometimes we try to think, and it's so hard, but let me tell you, when you start writing things down, it changes everything. So write things down, not even typing, but writing things down, journaling. Like, what can I change about the situation? What is the situation teaches me? How can I help other people? Did I acknowledge other people in this whole situation, right? All these things, more you start writing about it, more lessons you will have. And that's what we do. When we prepare for the show, we write those things down. I have a screen run in front of me as well. So I have those points right here for me. So anyway, guys, again, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And leave us some reviews. Leave me some reviews on Spotify, because believe it or not, this gives me better ratings, and I would love to hear from as many of you as I would like to hear. And also, I would like for you to leave some comments down below so we can see and share and learn from each other. So guys, thank you so much for listening and watching this podcast episode. No excuses.